Hi, my name is Tomasz and you're watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video we'll be making a cart for my thicknesser from Metabo that will actually fit in there underneath my workbench. Now I don't want to be using it being on my knees, so it will actually have a very simple lifting mechanism so I can use it at a reasonable height. Check out the video. So what is the secret behind the lift mechanism? Well, it's absolutely that simple. I'm just going to use a car jack, basically. That's what I'm going to use. It goes up by 45 centimeters, so that's quite a lot. I'm just going to be using my drill to get this up, nice and simple and easy. The tricky part of this build will be actually making sure that the whole cart and obviously the thickness itself, when it's fully raised, it's stable enough to work with it. So let's check it out and hopefully we'll have a nice and successful project. Let's carry on. So the first thing we need to do is to build a base to which we're going to attach the casters. Obviously I need to be able to move the cart quite easily and freely, hence we're going to start with using some studs to make a rectangle base that will fit perfectly in the space I've got underneath the bench. As you can see, I'm using my miter saw to do the cuts. To join the base together, I'm just going to be using some pocket holes. And now I'm just going to install the casters to the base that we already made. And now it's time to cut the plywood sheets into sizes. I've actually got just one piece of 18mm and the rest is 12mm. That's what I've got, so that's what I'm going to be using. We're going to create a box for a drawer, and obviously that will be acting as a base for our lifting mechanism as well. And it's now time to put everything together. I'm going to be using some wood glue and some brad nails to start, and I'm going to reinforce it with some screws. Before we install the top of the box, we need to make some adjustments to the lift mechanism, basically to the car jack. So it's suitable for us to install the top that will hold the thicknesser. Now the jack will be mounted to the box itself, hence it's just easier to do it first and to install the jack onto the top of the box. As you can see, I'm using my angle grinder just to make some adjustments to the jack I've got, so I can pre-drill then some holes in the base of it. That will enable us to bolt it onto the top of the box. Next, as you can see, I'm drilling some holes that will basically allow us to mount a piece of wood onto the jack that will act as a support for the base onto which the thicknesser will be resting on. So I placed exactly where the jack will go on the top of the box. I'm just going to pre-drill some holes for the bolts. Just before we continue, guys, just a quickie. If you're enjoying this video so far, please consider subscribing, as you being a part of my community and channel means really a lot to me. So drop me that subscription button, press the bell notification button so you will always be notified about my new videos. But let's carry on with the project. And now it's time to attach the car jack onto the top of the box. And now we can start putting everything together. Right then, so the car jack is mounted onto our cart. Now it's time to figure out how we're going to mount the top that will be holding the thicknesser. For that, I'm just going to be using a piece of 2x4, in which in the middle I'm just going to cut out some stock off that I will be able to squeeze into the plate that we pre-drilled the holes for the bolts to go into. For that, I'm just using my mitre saw with a stop block. As you can see, it's quite handy in this case. If you're interested in this saw, I'm just going to drop a link for you down below. And now it's time to install the support beam onto the car jack. And now it's time to screw the top onto the support beam. Okay, so at the minute we just installed the top with 4 screws just to hold it in place, but obviously at this state this is absolutely unusable. So I had a look around the garage to see what I can find and scavenge to actually make something to hold this top in a steady position. And what I found are these metal pipes with some flanges that attach to whatever you've got really. So these will be my supports that will hold the top together when it's at its full height. Now I will use my Forstner bit to actually drill a hole that's exactly the same diameter as the metal pipe. As you can see, I've put a scrap piece of wood, MDF in this case actually, underneath the board just to make sure there's no tear out. So as you can see, we pre-drilled the holes in the top to allow the pipes to go in. Next, we're actually pre-drilling the pipe themselves to allow a threaded rod to go through them. Obviously the threaded rod will have a star knob. And as you can see at this moment, I'm installing an insert inside of the top of the board that will allow us to actually screw the threaded rod in and secure the whole top. So the metal pipes are now fully secured to the base. I still need to put the screws at the top through here, but let's see if it actually goes up and down. So everything goes up and down quite nicely, obviously at the minute without the pressure and the weight of the thicknesser. But obviously when we're at the top, how we're going to secure it, and what we're going to use is basically a threaded rod with a star knob at the end. So basically it's that simple, because you can actually screw it inside. Like so, and obviously I've got 4 of them for each pipe, and then it's absolutely dead sturdy. So the next step is just to install the thicknesser onto the cart. So at the minute I'm just screwing the thicknesser to the top, as I just don't have bolts that are basically long enough. As you can see, it's at a reasonable height, it's not too bad. So as you can see, the thicknesser, it's at reasonable height. It's not probably absolutely perfect height, but for me that will do. Rather than reaching somewhere on the floor, I can store this large and heavy tool underneath my bench and use it in a quite a comfortable way. And there you go, guys, quite an interesting project today. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this project and you enjoyed my video, please consider subscribing to my channel, as it really helps me a lot, and it would be fantastic to have you on board as well. So guys, for today that is all, and I hope to see you on my next woodworking adventure. Till then, take care.